for watching, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Nile TV International, and that's the daily debate live from Cairo. First of all, Merry Christmas to all our viewers. It's Christmas Eve for all those celebrating Christmas throughout the whole world. Merry Christmas to all of you. Tonight on the daily debate, we'll be talking about a very interesting issue, which is mainly we're talking about youth. When we talk about youth, we're talking about energy. We're talking about the future. We're talking about a sense of enthusiasm to change the country, to build Egypt for the better. That is what we are going to talk on the daily debate for tonight. The youth, who are the cornerstone of Egypt's development. The president, on more than one occasion, President Sisi, had announced a global initiative to invest in the youth. Hopefully working for this important project and also for New Prospects Initiative, which is a declaration to member states to uphold the responsibility on how to empower people and how to empower the societies. And the initiative is mainly focusing on support in the various domains, including youth employment, including training programs, culture and education. And tonight it's really a pleasure to have with me one of the professors engaged in this important initiative for training the youth. I have with me Professor Dr. Emad Mehana, Professor of Political Economy. Thank you very much, Professor Mehana, for coming. And also two representatives of the youth who are engaged in such program, investing in the youth, youth for leadership, youth for development in Egypt. They are the bright future for the country. The representatives are Nahla Khaled, one of the student representatives. Thank you, Nahla, for coming.
Thank you.
And also I have with me Basem Sayed. Thank you, Basem.
My pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to have you all here. Let's watch this report, and we'll be back to discuss the initiative and discuss more about the youth, discuss more about the presidential leadership program. It's very important to engage the youth in decision making so that they would feel self-confident. Yes, we do need definitely the advice of the seniors and their sense of support, but we also need the energy of the youth. So this is what we will be discussing for tonight on the Daily Debate. Don't go away.
Giant national projects for the country development and providing job opportunities for youth, where he has launched the project of developing East Port Said region, pointing out to the necessity of work accomplishment in 2 years only instead of 3, where he assured that such projects may take from 10 to 15 years to be executed. President Sisi project was studied carefully, noting that the Suez Canal Corridor Development Decree was issued in 2002, 13 years ago. In other words, such projects should have been commenced since 13 years. The President declared that the Suez Canal Corridor Development Projects is a pure Egyptian work, hinting that all employees in the project are Egyptians working in civil companies, and also all are trained on new equipment. Sisi has witnessed the launching of this project and the commencement of a giant maritime port in the region. This in addition to an industrial region and another logistic, third residential and fourth for fish wealth plantation, also a region for South Port Said region to link East and West Egypt, promoting development and investment by Egyptian efforts and money, and supporting states, entities and the armed forces. The project of East Port Said comes within the framework of developing Suez Canal region from a comprehensive perspective of development in Egypt without any prevention of new foreign investments capable of refreshing Egyptian economy and pumping currency during the current period. The giant maritime port consists of 4 main elements. They are berth on both sides, amongst which a navigational channel in the middle and the berth westwards and others eastwards of a total of 10 kilometers. The first stage of total 5 kilometers. Its western berth of length kilometers wide, 450 meters, eastern berth of 3 kilometer and width of 500 meters, and water channel of 3 kilometer length and 500 meters wide and route 18.5. This in addition to a circular round at the middle between the two berths and along the water channel of diameter 950 meters. every region of the area of 4 million square meters, and work there will start on an area of 16 million meter. In addition, there is a model for a factory, administrative size, and a hotel for coming investors and factory owners' residence, and will be accomplished in the first half of 2016. The project also includes the establishment of a developed logistic zone, including administrative and service establishments and required warehouses, whether for birth or industrial regions. This again in addition to a plan for establishing a residential zone of area 4 meter of a sum of 10,000 residential units, sufficient for 50,000 citizens, to be increased afterwards. Finally, the last project to be commenced, as President Sisi ordered, is the strategic tunnels group passing beneath the Suez Canal, pointing out that the equipment purchased by the armed forces will execute these tunnels on time to connect these developments with new urbanization communities.
As you've seen, Professor Mehana, the report highlighted East Port Said project and many other projects, not only the East Port Said, but we remember also the conference at Sharm el-Sheikh, the economic conference. The youth were there, and definitely we are pinning high hopes on the youth also to engage in other projects like this one, the East Port Said project. How do you see their engagement in those huge projects, and how will this really reflect on their sense of self-confidence and also belonging to the country?
I think President Sisi, since being in office, he realized the power and the understanding and the passion of youth to be engaged in mega projects. And in total, we're talking about 24 projects, and President Sisi always stresses on engaging youth since the beginning of the presidential election. And I think that the problem that we had before is the marginalization of youth and not trying to understand and create that cultural bridge between the different generations in Egypt. And almost every 2 weeks he organizes sessions with the youth from universities, and this basically reflects his understanding of the new generations, trying to engage them. The difficulty that youth faces really at this time is the ability to get involved in mega projects and be really active. And one of the programs that were offered by the presidency is basically qualifying 10,000 youth in addition to what's happening now, the youth leadership program, and it's already accepting people in the age 20 to 30 years of age. And in addition to that is the cultural awareness in terms of political and security cultural awareness that we trying to do now. So the difficult situation that really the country's in now is trying to get the youth on the same page and get them involved. But I think few steps have been taken in the past few months, and I think they're very, very useful to get the youth involved. He believes in them, and I think this is really a great believe in the youth because they have really all qualifications that Egypt needs in the next few years to get on the right page in the 21st century.
Definitely, and this sense of belief, Basem, do you feel this sense of belief? I mean, even at the university, you find yourself, engaged with projects on solid grounds, how professors do engage you, and how do you feel the country and the state is working on engaging the youth today?
Well, my professors do engage me with projects about wars, first and second, third, fourth generations, and about their concept. The fourth advanced and the fifth generation are critical, of course, for such items.
Yeah.
Which are essentially related to most of the projects. Sixth generation wars, which is about information. It's the main point, or which is the most critical point, because it is a war of information.
Yeah.
Its general basics and the principles are such as inequality and not a fair opportunity among all youth to have. Many people participate and tend to adapt to such situations and also try to engage
heal.
with such
Yeah.
projects.
Right. Well, Nahla, Basem was talking about the war of information and how to prepare the youth in order to deal with such challenge. And he said that the professors at the university are engaging the youth in order to deal with that dimension. How do you find this useful, and in what way are you being engaged?
Well, in our universities, they try to let us get engaged in such activities through our projects that try to feel us to make us feel that we're secure in our country. That we don't have the idea that we're no longer welcomed or we have to travel abroad to activate in anything. That we have an opportunity in our country through a lot of aspects.
Right, that's great, Professor Mehana. As Nahla was just mentioning, this enhances also the sense of belonging. How are you as a professor and as university staff dealing with that? I guess it is a very important aspect. She's talking about the students feeling that, yes, they do have a future here.
Absolutely. This is one of the problems that the youth experience in the past 2-3 decades, that they never really felt they are part of the nation to be developed. And I think this is the approach that President Sisi is taking in a past 2 years.
How to optimize.
Absolutely, optimize and how to utilize the resources, because we're talking about 65% of the population youth. We're talking about in their age between 19 and 32, we're talking about over 30 million people, and that's 30% of the population. And I think President Sisi is trying to utilize that to be able to build a strong country where we need land, labor, and capital, and we have that basically at our fingertips. So what they need at this point is the cultural awareness to be raised, correction in the history, because part of our history is being modified by the West, trying to describe our countries in a very negative way, where we basically through the different sessions and through the different programs with the help of the Ministry of Culture, the Presidency organization, as well as the Ministry of Youth and the different universities, in addition to the State Information Services, organizing these sessions to basically create that sense of ownership